meeting someone, they have to have some sort of appeal. I have to be attracted to him. And then we also have to have a lot in common. I like those substantial, meaningful conversations.
Some of the first assumptions that people make about me is that I'm weak, because maybe my frame is a little bit smaller. Maybe just because I'm gay, that might also play into the kind of weakness factor. You know, feminine or flamboyant versus, you know, masculine and straight.
Your name is Marcus, and this is your story. You're 26 years old. For work, you are a graphic designer. Your cultural or ethnic background is Puerto Rican.
My name is Aaron. I'm 30 years old. I am a gym manager and an artist designer, and my ethnic background is Mexican. Your name is Brandon, and this is your story. You are 30 years old. For work, you are a hairstylist. Your cultural or ethnic background is Scottish.
My name is Drew. I'm 27 years old. For work, I'm a concierge member. And my ethnic background is German, Austrian, Swedish, and a little bit of Luxembourg. Why did you think I was Scottish?
Probably because you're white and you're wearing plaid, so you're just giving me that image. What made you think that I was a graphic designer?
Just like messy hair, but it's well kept. And you like denim.
I grew up in Riverside County in Miraloma, and there was a lot of farmland growing up. We had animals. I was actually raised Mormon, basically from the day I was born until about 13 years old when my family decided to leave the church.
I'm from Minneapolis, Minnesota, a suburb called Edina. In high school, I never really considered myself part of the crowd. And I think that was kind of especially hard because in high school, you always want to belong to something. You want to be a part of something. And I never really established myself as that.
If you could be an athlete for a day, you would be a surfer. If you could pick a new name, you would pick Max. And the most animals you've had at one time is 1.
If I could be an athlete for a day, I would be a quarterback. If I could pick a new name, it would be Brody.
Brody?
Brody.
Why Brody?
I don't know, because it has bro in it.
Get out of here.
Bruh.
Bruh. So when somebody says, hey, bruh, so you're just gonna turn around and be like,
you're like, what?
Who's talking to me? That's so weird.
And the most amount of animals I've ever had is 0. If you could be an athlete for a day, you would be a gymnast. If you could pick a new name, you would pick Michael. And most animals you've had at one time is 1.
Okay. If I could be an athlete for a day, I would be probably a gymnast. And you know, I've thought about picking a new name before. One that I thought about was Azrael, but then I didn't do it. And the most animals I've had at one time, it's kind of like a guess, probably around like 35.
Did you live on a farm where you had goats and pigs and chickens, or?
I grew up in the country, so I always had animals growing up. I did have goats, pigs, and chickens, geese, a couple horses, dogs, cats, a turtle. Being young and knowing that I was gay, it was a little bit tougher kind of growing up in the church. What I was doing was wrong in the eyes of other people, and that the more and more I grow up, the less and less are going to accept me. So I'm kind of glad I got out of it, because then I didn't have to deal with any of that.
You want to have one kid. You would send your kid to public school, and it is important to you that your children are raised without religion.
I think if I were to have kids, I'd want like 6 or like, you know, a lot. I would send my kid to public school, and it is important that my children are raised without religion. So you're right on that one.
Cool.
You want to have 2 kids. You want to send your kid to public school, and it is important to you that your children are raised without religion.
Okay. I want to have 2 kids. Depending on the area, I think public schools are great, but I think private schools are great. I would probably do both. And it is important to me that they are raised with religion. I think that would be a deal breaker if you truly believe that raising a child without religion is necessary, but we'd probably talk about it.
Are your parents religious?
They are religious.
What religion?
Catholic.
Catholic?
Mm-hmm.
I grew up in the Mormon church. That didn't work out so well. My sister is Christian, and it's amazing for her, and I've actually learned a lot through her.
Yeah.
And I think she's really softened my views on a lot of things. I just don't want my children to grow up with the same experience that I had. When I first saw you, I thought that I would date you because you're handsome. Your smile actually was like the biggest thing that struck me. Now, after talking with you, I've decided that I still would date you.
When I first opened my eyes, I decided that I would date you. You can tell a lot about a person by when they stare at you. And I didn't feel caught off guard or threatened by you. I felt very comfortable. Now that we've had this conversation and I've gotten to know you a little bit more, I would still date you.
That's great. I think the most surprising thing was how nervous I was because of the possibility of rejection.
I think first assumptions of people are generally good. If you have a good assumption of someone based on how they make you feel, it's generally right.
I think we make assumptions to help make ourselves feel better and help make us feel like we know what's going on, and knowing makes us feel safe. It was nice to meet you.
It was nice to meet you. Oh, wow. Thanks for that.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Thanks.
Let's do it.
Okay, cool.
So are you hungry?
Super cake.